Amen. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here for this live session. We are going to be reading today, and our reading is a continuation from a story that we have been reading called The Letter. Yes, so it is called Lydia and the 1802 Letter. And this is part 3 of the story called Lydia and the 1802 Letter. So let's just give a few seconds for other persons to join the live and then we would begin. So in the meantime, you guys can feel free to comment in the comment section. Let's talk. You may have topics that you want to discuss, things that you think we should read on in our sessions. That would be very good if you can share topics that you would want us to study during our reading session. So let's get friendly in our comment section. Let's talk. If there's any topic that you want us to study, especially, let us know. All right, guys, please give the live a thumbs up. Let's see more persons coming into the live. All right, so let's begin our reading session for today. And as I've said before, our reading session is actually a continuation of our story about Lydia and the 1802 letter. Please remember that if you want to see the previous parts of this story, you can check our previous live sessions to see those parts. Okay? That would help you to understand what you are reading about. So you can always go back to those previous sessions to get to, just cover the whole reading. Also, feel free to share with someone. Feel free to share this live with someone who needs help with reading. Reading English can be very challenging, and so I'm here to help you to learn to read English fluently and also to learn to read English by learning step by step. This is where you are able to call your words correctly. You are also able to decode or break down the words into parts to be able to call them. You learn different songs. You would also learn new vocabulary that can help you to understand what you're reading or to comprehend what you are actually reading in English. So let's get right into it. Along with these skills, you would also learn how to spell. Your spelling would improve tremendously. Here's our reading, and we're going to begin. So today we are going to be looking at words that you may find difficult for you to call. Some words that you may just find difficult for you to call. And we are going to be highlighting the words that I think might be difficult for you to call. And there may be others that might be difficult for you to call that I do not highlight. If there are words that I did not highlight, I want you to type them in the comment section if they present a problem for you. So if they're difficult for you, but I did not underline them, I want you to please type them in the comment section so I can know that you are having problems with those words. All right, so these are the words that we're going to be breaking down into parts or decoding into parts. And these words, I am doing so because I think that they may be difficult for you to call. Okay? So let's get into it. Our first word here, we're going to be putting it into parts. This word says, let's look for the small words we can see. So the small words we can see in this word, we can see the word on. So here we can say on, con. Then we can see the small word in. We add the T, in, tin. So we have tin there. That's a word by itself. And U and E together in English would say you. There are other songs that it can make, but you is one of the popular songs that it makes. The U makes a sound and the E is silent, so you hear you. So let's say the word, then we are going to add the ED sound after we have called the root word. Adding the ED sound after would help you to be able to know which song to use, whether you use the D sound, the T sound, or the it sound. Let's go ahead and put the word together. So our first part is con. Then we have tin, contin, U and E together, you, continue. So the root word is continue. Let's add the D sound. So we hear continued, continued. So the D sound for ED, that is what we are using. So our word says continued, continued. What does it mean for something to be continued? Are you familiar with that word continued? It's a very popular word in English. The root word continue, that's a very popular word. So if something is to be continued, it means that it is something that would carry on, or something that would go on, or something that would keep happening, or something that um, would not stop. It's something that is gonna stay, right? or something that persists. So the word is continued. Continued. Our next word, D and E together, that's a very popular prefix in the English language. So it would normally come before words to change the meaning of the word, right? So D, the prefix D would actually mean to reverse something, to undo it, or for something to be off from something or from something. That's what the prefix D means. So D, then IGH together makes the sound I. The GH is silent, so you only hear the I. This is a combination in English that makes a song together. So let's put this all together right here in the middle. We have the word L. The L makes the sound L. The IGH makes the sound I. So we hear L, I, T, L, I, T, L, I, T, light, light. So that word is light. And then we are going to add the ED sound. So let's put it all together now. So we have the word D, light. Whenever a word in English ends with T or D and it's followed by the past tense ED, the ED will make the sound id, id. So we hear delight, id, delight, id, delighted, delighted. So our word here is delighted. What does delight mean? Remember, delighted would be the past tense. It's the past form of the verb. So whenever you are delight, it means that you are pleased about something, right? You are greatly pleased about something, or you are excited, or you are gladdened by something. It means it's something that you're really happy about, something that charms you, right? Okay, our next word. Our next word, we can see the small word men. Mm, mm, men. Then we see Tion. Ti before on makes the sound sh, sh. Then we hear the O and N makes the sound o, on, and that's a small word. So we have the word. Let's call the word together. Our word would be men, sh, on. Now let's put it all together. So this part of the word says shone, shone, and that's an ending for a lot of English words. A lot of English words makes the sound shone. Okay? So let's put it all together. Men, shone, mention, mention. What does it mean to mention something? What does it mean to mention something? Whenever you mention something, it means that you maybe say something very short about it, or you bring up something, or you introduce something, or we can say that you refer to something, right? So when you mention something, you refer to something or you speak, short about it, as in you just give a brief um thing about it. You do not bring in too much details, or you give hints, or you just introduce something or raise something. That's what it means to mention something. Okay, our next word, and this word, it is a very easy word for you to call. And I think you might be able to call this word. My reason for highlighting it is just because it is a longer word, and I know that sometimes when the words they seem a bit long, sometimes some of us we do not take care to call them. And so we face a lot of problems with calling the words. So let's go ahead and we are going to take a look at this word. And this word is actually made up of two words. So it's a compound word. So we have G and R together making the sound G and R. When we put them together, we hear grr, grr. Then we have the small word and. And if we add the D, we have and. This is a word that we covered last time in our reading. So if we put this together, we have gr and grand. And grand means when something is very big. Grand by itself means when something is very big. So we are going to be calling the next part of the word. The next part of the word says a, T and H together make one sound. We get tongue between our teeth. Or or. And the E and R together says Let's now put it all together as in this word. Or mother, 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 mother. Okay, so this part of the word is mother, mother. Now the ER, it actually says but however, when you're pronouncing it in English, you would not say mother, okay? You would not say mother, you would say mother, mother. And for this, it's like kind of dropping the song short or using the schwa sound. That's what is happening to the ER at the end there. So we hear mother, mother. Okay, let's go to our next word. So in our next word, we have st. We have st. E, P and H together make a sound like F when they come together. So we hear Steph. We see the small word an, I and E together. I know that you may know it says I, but it can also say E. That is where the I is silent and the E makes the sound where it calls its name. So in some words, you would find I and E together saying E. So in this one, it would say E. This is a name. So however, there are persons that may have this name and they may use the I sound. So you may just see that variation because names, they really do not follow rules, okay? In English, they do not follow rules. So you would find in English that there are persons who have the same name, but they pronounce it different or they call it different. So let's now put the whole part of the word together. St, F, Steph, and E. Stephanie, Stephanie, Stephanie. If at any point you hear this word as Stephanie, know that the I and E, they are pronouncing it as I. But in English, popularly, this name would be called Stephanie. So the E sound would be used. Okay, our next word, we have B. I and R together makes one sound in English. So we hear B, T and H. We put our tongue between our teeth for this one. B, earth, birth. So this word says birth. And this word is birth means when something has been born, okay? Or when something comes into existence, then you would say that it was birth, okay? Or when you have a young one, you would say, use the word birth. When a young one comes from its mother, you would say that it has been birthed. And then we have the word d, A and Y together makes the sound A. Let's put it together. D, A, day. And this day is like today, like daytime. So birth, day, birth, day, birthday. And what is your birthday? So you would ask, when is your birthday? When is your birthday? And someone's birthday would be the anniversary of the date they were born. It would be the anniversary of the day on which they were born. Okay. And on that day, you would have celebration, like party, you might have fun with your friends, and so on. That is just what people would do to celebrate their birthday. Okay, let's go to our next word. P and R together, we hear r, pr. The E makes the sound E. Pr, E, pre, s, E, n, t. So we add the N and T together as a blend, an ending blend, consonant blend, and they would say nt, nt. Let's put it all together now. Pr, E, pre, s, and t. Okay, this is actually a word by itself. So you can put it as a word by itself. It says pr, sorry. It says s, n, t, scent, s, n, t, scent, scent. And this is like when you send, you have sent something, somewhere that is this type of scent, right? So this scent actually means to send something somewhere. And this is the past tense for the word send. Send. Okay. So let's now put it together. I know that you're familiar with the word, with this part of the word as being pre. Pre. Yes, in English, that is a prefix, pre. However, in some words, it would not say pre. In some words, it would actually just use the short E sound and say eh. So like this word, it is saying eh. So pr eh, prayer, and then we see the small word sent, present, present, present. Do you know what is a present? So this word, as it is right now, it means present as in a gift that is given to someone. As it is right now, it means a gift that is given to someone. So a birthday present would be something that is given to someone. However, this word, it can be also used to mean like you are in attendance of something. So when you say present, like somebody is present, it means that they are there or they are in attendance or they are right in that particular place or they are existing, right? And also present can mean now, it can mean today. So this word, it can also say present, present. So it's a word that you have to be very careful with when you're using English because it can mean present, it can mean present as in a gift, and it can also mean like being present at a particular place or now. It can mean that or just simply existing. And then it can also be used as present, which is a completely different word. When you say that you're presenting something, it means that you are actually um, putting it on display or you are showing it to others when you are presenting or you are sharing. You can use it to say that you're sharing it too or you're giving it. Yes. Or you want it to be made known. Yes, so that's how English can be very difficult in these ways. If you actually take it as it is, it would be very difficult to learn because you might just miss the pronunciation for the words. Okay, so let's go with this one now. So we have E and A in the word. E and A can make a lot of different sounds, but in this song is this word, the A is silent and the E is making a short sound. So I know that you may know E and A says E together, like in the word meet or beat, but in this word it is actually saying E, like in the word sweat. You hear E too. So let's put it together. D, ed, d, ed, dead. So this part of the word says dead, and then the Y at the end makes a sound like E. So when you put L and Y together in this word, you hear Lee, Lee. Ly can make the sound lie also, but that would be in shorter words. A lot of the times when it's in shorter words, that's when you hear the Y making the song like I. Okay, so our word here is deadly, deadly. Remember the E and A together, we hear the E make the sound saying the A is silent. So D, ed, and the ly says ly, deadly. Okay, we have 4 more words to go. We're doing well. This word, the H should actually be out because if the H is in, the word would say, make an F sound. So it would say the O would say O, N, and the Y at the end says E. So it would be phony. But this is not the word according to the context of our reading. So we have to take out the H to get the correct word that should have been here. Okay? So this word is actually the P making the sound and the O is making the sound O, the long O sound, calling its name. Then we hear the N say N, and the Y makes a sound like E. So let's put it together. O, O, N, E. O, Po, N, E. Pony, pony. So our word is pony. And pony, it is an animal. Have you ever heard about a pony before? Have you ever heard about a pony? Pony is a very popular animal. So actually, a pony is a small breed horse. So a small breed horse is called a pony. So if there's a horse and the horse is of a small breed or it is a small horse, then you would call it a pony. Okay? Small horse is called a pony, or if it is of a small breed, you would call it a pony. Okay, so we're doing well. So let's go on to our next word. We have pen, and this is a name. So remember, names, they do not really follow rules in English. So you can have the same name and you can pronounce it different. So this says pen. We have E making the sound E, and the L, we put them together. L, penel, L. So we have penel. O, because the E's at the end silent. Whenever E's at the end silent, the vowel that comes before the consonant, most of the times it would make a long sound. That's where it calls its own name. So for this, we hear O. So we hear pen, L, O, P. Penelope. Okay. So the E here in this one, we can call it Penelope or we can say Penelope. So it's up to you which one you would want to call it. The Penelope, that is where you're calling the song for the E. But Penelope, we are stopping at the song. So we can say pen, L, O, Penelope, or we can say Penelope. So we say pen, L, O, and we say, and the E, we make a long song for the E, where the E call its name. So Penelope or Penelope. So we say pen, E, and then L, O, loop, and the E would be silent, right? So both of them, they are correct. Penelope or Penelope. Our next word, k. O-U-R together can say our and it can say In this word, it says So the U is silent, the O and R makes the sound in the word. So k, ka, and then we hear a, j. When G comes before E, I or Y, we hear the song like J. So we hear J. So we hear a, j. The E here now is silent. So we hear age, and this is age by itself as a word in English, age. Like when you ask how old is someone, you're asking their age. And OUS together says us. The O is silent. Okay, anytime you see words in English with OUS at the end, the O is silent. And the US makes the sound us. So in English, we just say OUS together, says us. But it's actually the US making the sound us and the O being silent. All right, so let's put it all together now. So we hear or, remember the U here is silent, so we hear or, or, car, age. The A makes a long sound. The J says J because it comes before the E. And the E is silent. So we hear car, so we hear car, age, and then us. Courage, us. Courageous, courageous, courageous. So you may have heard the word before, courageous. When somebody is courageous, what does it mean to be courageous? When somebody is courageous, it means that they have a lot of courage. So we can use the word courage. So if it's this part of the word is a word by itself, it's the root word, it says courage. Courage. So it means that they have courage, or we can say that they are brave. Another word we can use for courageous is brave. We can also say that they are mentally strong. When somebody's courageous, it means that they are mentally strong. So they're brave or they're just mentally strong. They Another word we can also use is the word let's see another word we can use. We can use a word like they're able to withstand fear or they're able to withstand difficulty. Yes, so they're able to control their fears and to um just handle difficult situations when they are courageous. That's what they'll be able to do. And our last word that we're looking at in parts is the word, this small word. This small word actually says, some people say error, some people say error. Some persons say error, some says error, right? So it depends on who you are around that you would call this word differently, right? So whether you say error or you say error, it's just a difference with the beginning sound. Some people they pronounce the E as a long sound to say error, E and R and A, error, or some people they use the short sound to say and R, A, error. And this word means a time period And this time period would be most likely a special date or event, right? It is an important or outstanding period of history. So when you use the word era, you're using it to talk about a period that is important in terms of it has a historical importance or value. There is something that makes it very distinct, whether it's a event or it's a character um, from that time period that makes it so important. So era is actually a span of time, and that span of time can be determined according to the purpose, what the reason for the time. Um, not determined, sorry, defined according to the purpose for the time. So it could be something that has to do with a special event or a special character, or maybe something else that happened in history that actually qualifies for that. So, like for example, we had the Victorian era, we had Christian era, we had so many different eras in over time, right? But one of the things that I would say to you is that in pronouncing this word, it is better to use era, era. That one pronunciation is the best pronunciation to use, era. Okay, so now we are going to be reading through our story. Okay, remember this word is best pronounced as era. Or you can say error, but it depends on, you know, it all depends on your audience. So let's go ahead and read our story. We're going to say the words again first, and then we're going to read through. We're going to see if you remember the words. This one is continued, mention, delighted, grandmother, present. In this context, present can also say present, birthday, deadly, pony, Penelope, or Penelope. You can use any pronunciation you choose. Courageous, courageous, courageous. Error or era, error or era. Stephanie, Stephanie. All right, let's now read through our story. As Lydia continued her reading, she was delighted by the mention of Alice's grandmother, Stephanie, who lost her first and only birthday present ever in all her 50 years of living after jumping into a rushing river right after a deadly storm. Carl just to save her pony, Penelope or Penelope, whichever one you choose to use. Stephanie was a very courageous lady for that era or era, whichever one you choose to use. Okay. All right. So there we have all the words. We were able to see them word by word. Now we are going to try to read in phrases, and after we are going to try to read um, as a whole story. Let's go ahead and let's try to read it in phrases. As Lydia continued her reading, she was delighted by the mention of Alice's grandmother, Stephanie, who lost her first and only birthday present ever in all her 50 years of living after jumping into a rushing river right after a deadly storm call just to save her pony Penelope or Penelope, whichever one you choose to use. Stephanie was a very courageous lady for that era or era, whichever one you choose to use. Okay, so now I hope that you remember the words. We're going to be reading without any clues now. Seeing that we have all the clues on the screen, we're going to remove them and we're going to see how well we can try to read as fluently as we can without any mistakes. Let's try to read fluently without any mistakes. Don't forget, we're going to try to read as fluently as we can with no mistakes. And you can do it. Just let's go. Let's begin. As Lydia continued her reading, she was delighted by the mention of Alice's grandmother, Stephanie, who lost her first and only birthday present ever in all her 50 years of living after jumping into a rushing river right after a deadly storm call just to save her pony, Penelope or Penelope. Stephanie was a very courageous lady for that era or era. What do you think about that? Do you think you did well? So let's try it again. Try to keep a moderate pace, not too fast, not too slow, as I was doing. So it would allow you, if you make mistakes, to be fluent still. Let's go again one more time. Ready? Let's go. As Lydia continued her reading, she was delighted by the mention of Alice's grandmother, Stephanie, who lost her first and only birthday present ever in all her 50 years of living after jumping into a Russian river right after a deadly storm call just to save her pony, Penelope or Penelope. Stephanie was a very courageous lady for that era or era. What do you think? Do you think you did well? Well, we are going to just do it one more time, okay? Let's go ahead one more time and try to keep your focus so that you can read it right through fluently. Ready to go? Let's begin. As Lydia continued her reading, she was delighted by the mention of Alice's grandmother, Stephanie, who lost her first and only birthday present ever in all her 50 years of living after jumping into a rushing river right after a deadly storm calm just to save her pony, Penelope, or Penelope. Stephanie was a very courageous lady for that era or era. What do you think? We're going to do it one more time. One more time. Let's begin one more time. We're going to try to read as fluently as we can. Ready to go? Let's begin. As Lydia continued her reading, she was delighted by the mention of Alice's grandmother, Stephanie, who lost her first and only birthday present ever in all her 50 years of living after jumping into a rushing river right after a deadly storm calm just to save her pony, Penelope. Stephanie was a very courageous lady for that era or era. Remember that this word is pony. Okay, sorry, I was supposed to take out the letter there so that it does not show up. Yes, this word is pony. Okay, not phony. If it's PH, then it would be phony. So let's read it one more time. Ready to go? Let's begin. As Lydia continued her reading, she was delighted by the mention of Alice's grandmother, Stephanie, who lost her first and only birthday present ever in all her 50 years of living after jumping into a Russian river right after a deadly storm calm just to save her pony, Penelope, or Penelope. Stephanie was a very courageous lady for that era or era. Okay, so you would have heard Penelope or Penelope. This word, if you go back to where we were studying the word itself, we see pen, e, l. The O makes the long song because the E is at the end silent. So we can say Penel O and make the long E sound, Penelope, call the song for the E. Or we can say pen E and we can put this part together to say low, where the O makes a sound and the E at the end stays silent. Okay? So because it's a name in English, this name is pronounced in these two ways. We can hear Penelope or we can hear Penelope. Okay? So remember, Penelope I'm showing you just how to divide them according to how you say them. If you're saying penelope, then you would say pen, E, and lope would be a word by itself. So the O would make the long O sound, and the E would stay silent. Penelope. If you're saying Penelope, then you would hear pen, L, and the O would say O, the P would say P, and the E would say E. Penelope. Okay, guys. And the word era, it's just a difference in pronouncing the E as long E or pronouncing it as short E. Eh, right? So you can say era or you can say era. And none of it is incorrect. They are both correct to say, whether you say era or era. That's fine. So I hope that you guys are now familiar with the words that we have studied and you're able to call all the words correctly. Remember, this one says con, tin, U and E together makes the sound U. The D at the end, it's past tense. So it's like adding the ED at the end because the word already has a E. All you just do is to add the D, right? And the ED sound there would be D. So therefore, you'll hear continued. And we said continued means when something keeps going on or carrying on, when something doesn't stop, it keeps happening over and over. Or it is something that would just keep happening. That's when it continues. We also call the word delight. We said D, it's a common prefix in English that means to undo something, to reverse it, which means to send it backwards or to um, take off something or to detach something or to take something from another thing. That's when you use D. IGH, we said that makes the sound I in English. So if we put this part together, we have light, 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 light. We put the two parts together, we have delight. We add the ED sound, we have the word delighted. And we said when somebody is delighted, it means that they are charmed, or it means that they get excited, or they are pleased about something. And, that's when you are greatly pleased about something that you would say that you are delighted about it. Please, guys, go ahead and like the live. If there's any word here that you do not know and you want to learn that I have not highlighted, you can type them in the comment section so I can go through them. So S and H together makes the sound, sorry, T and I together makes the sound like SH, that says sh. So we hear men, this is a small word, men, and then we have the sh, T and I making that sound, and then we have on. We can say T and I together makes the sound shun, shun. We put them together, mention, mention. When you mention something, it means that you speak up about it briefly, which means for a short time, or you introduce something, or you refer to something. That's how you mention something. Our next word that we studied, focused on, was the word grr. G and R together makes some grr. Then we see the small word and, grand. So grand mean when something is big. And then we have a, t and h, moth, and mother, mother. However, in English, you will not hear the er at the end being sung out, like roll itself like that to say mother. Most of the time, especially in British English, it will make a schwa sound. So you'll hear mother, mother. So it's like it's cutting the song very short by just giving it a puff of air. Mother. So we put the word together. We have grandmother, grandmother. And grandmother would be like the oldest one, right? So grandmother would be your mother's mother. And as I said, grand means big. So basically you're saying the big mother, which is your mother's mother. Okay. E, P and H together make a song like F. So we say F, Steph. We have the small word an, Stefan, I-N-E. A lot of times at the ending of longer words in English would say E. So here we have Steph and E, Stephanie. And that's a name. So don't be surprised if you ever hear Stephanie in English, because names, they do not follow rule, so they can use the I sound instead of the E for that name, Stephanie. Okay, our next word, B, I and R together says T and H, tongue between our teeth, B, earth, birth. And this is like when somebody um makes a young one, you would say that they have given birth. Or when you come up with a new idea, you can say that a new idea has been birthed. And then we have the small word d, A and Y together makes the sound A, day. So this word is day. We put them together, we have birthday, birthday. And birthday, it is the anniversary of the day that you were born. Okay? It is the anniversary of the day that you were born or someone was born. In this one, we have P and R together, prayer, and then we have ent, ent, sent. So that's a small word by itself, sent. And sent there would, it, in English, sent is actually the past tense for the word send, like when something is being carried to another destination. You would say that I sent it, like a mail, you sent it. So here we have present, present, present. I know you know pre as a prefix saying pre, but it also says pre in some English words. So in this one, we see present, present. And present means when you are existing or when you are in a particular place attending something, you can say that you're present, or it can mean a gift, something that you give to someone. A gift is called a present. So in this context, it is used to mean a gift, a birthday gift. Okay, let's see the next word. So our next word, we have the E and A in this word says the A silent and the E makes a short sound So we have ed, dead, and the ly makes the sound li, deadly. So the Y at the end is actually saying E. Deadly. Okay. Our next word, the O is making a long song O, then N, and the Y at the end is saying E in this one. Remember, Y at the end can say I or E. A lot of English words, Y would say E. So, P, O, N, E, pony. You just did the word Penelope or Penelope, whichever one you want to call it. So our next word is this one. O-U-R says our, and it can also say or. In this word, it is saying or. When it says or, that's where the U is silent in the word. So the O and R comes together to say or. Then we have the small word age. The A makes the long sound where it calls its name. G comes before E, I, and Y, so it makes a song that says J. So we hear age, the E is silent. So whenever G comes before E, I, or Y, it makes a song like J. So we can see the small word age, like when you ask somebody how old they are, you're asking their age. OUS in English, it's a very common ending for a lot of longer English words. The O is silent in it, and the US makes the sound us. If we put the parts together, we are going to have or, age, and us. Courageous, courageous. What does courageous mean? It means when somebody is very brave. It means when they can withstand difficult times or pain or hardship. You would say that they are courageous when they can um, cause themselves to not fear, you know, something, then they would say that they are courageous. Okay. And our final word that we really looked at was the word era, where the E says E, era, or it can say error, error. So this word is pronounced both ways, era or error. And that word actually means a time period that is very important due to maybe an event or a character or some sort of historic um, thing that comes with it that would make it that time period very important or significant. So those are our words. We're just gonna read it one more time and then we're gonna stop there for today because we have read this a lot more times before. If you're not joining the live, then you can rewatch so that you can practice reading it fluently because we practiced first reading it word for word, then we read it using phrases. Now, finally, we are going to read it just by reading it fluently right through. Remember, when you're reading fluently right through something, always look at it first to look at the words, the order in which they come, and also take your time, read moderately, which means that you read at a pace that you can handle, pace that does not cause you to go too fast or too slow. And with that, you'll be able to manage. So let's go ahead and read it together. Let's begin. As Lydia continued her reading, she was delighted by the mention of Alice's grandmother, Stephanie, who lost her first and only birthday present ever in all her 50 years of living after jumping into a rushing river right after a deadly storm, Carl, just to save her Pony, Penelope or Penny Stephanie was a very courageous lady for that era or era. So we're going to read it one more time. As Lydia continued her reading, she was delighted by the mention of Alice's grandmother, Stephanie, who lost her first and only birthday present ever in all her 50 years of living after jumping into a rushing river right after a deadly storm, Carl, just to save her pony Penelope or Penelope. Stephanie was a very courageous lady for that era or era. Yes, and you just heard I had a tongue twister at the word Penelope or Penelope. And that's because the word pony came just before. You find when words begin with the same sound, sometimes you can have a tongue twister. And remember, this H is not in the word pony. If the H is there, then it would be phony. Okay, phony. And phony means a lie, right? So that H should not be there. Okay, guys, so we are done with the reading. Please, if there are any words that you are still unfamiliar with and you want me to decode or to sound out how to pronounce, type it in the comment section so I can see it and try to call it for you. Thank you so much for being here and for reading with me. It was a pleasure reading with you, and I hope that this live reading session have helped you to improve your reading in one way or the other, or to learn new vocabulary, and that you would keep practicing so that you can learn your words fluently and be able to read fluently. So thank you for reading, and I'll see you in the next live. Take care, keep on blooming, and may God bless you and you continue to share, what you are learning with others so that they can learn it too. It was my pleasure reading with you, and until then, I'll see you again. Take care now.